Okay, brothers and sisters of the brush, welcome to the second episode of the Brush Off Show with Kris Grundy. We're heading over to speak to Nick Nice. Nick Nice. This is why live sucks. One sec. Sorry. It's my mess up clip. So you're going to forget. I'm going to snap that. You forget what's going on. All right, let's start again. Brothers and sisters of the brush, welcome to the second episode of the Brush Off Show. In this edition, we are going over to the UK to speak to Nathan from Nice Decor. We're going to see if Nathan's ready to join us.
Nick Nice.
Nick Nice. Hey, when I snap that, you're supposed to forget all about it. All right? How's it going, man? How's it going?
I'm good, mate. And you?
I'm great. It's good to see you. I thank you for your time this evening. I know it's late on your side. And,
Not a problem.
Seeing your hustle every day, I know that you're going to be up there bright and early and going at it first thing tomorrow morning again.
As always.
So let's start out by telling the viewers where you are.
Okay, so I'm Nathan from Nice Decor. I run a company in the northwest of England in a county called Lancashire, a little village called Eccleston.
Okay, and how long have you been in the industry?
Coming up to about 10 years now. I started, about 10 years ago. My dad taught me everything I know. About 7 years in, I sort of went on my own, spread my wings, did 3 years, and now it's gone full circle. Pops is working for me now.
Pops is working for you now. I see him in a lot of your videos. I see you always seem to catch him when he's in the washroom.
Yeah.
I seen you checking out some non-slip tarps. He was actually pretty funny in that one. He was not slipping on the new tarps, and as soon as he got to the old one, he did a little fumble. He's got a good sense of humor, that dad of yours. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you just a few questions, just so our group of painters out there, globe-wide, can get a little bit to know a little bit more about yourself. We're all posting our videos and our pictures. We do a little bit of interacting with each other, but we really don't know much about each other, and the services that we offer and stuff like that. So what kind of stuff do you do?
Well, everything really. It's interior and exterior. We do anything from coving, wallpapering, anything down to straight to the brush and roller, really. Try to stick to interior if we can. Obviously, the score with working through summer, you get twice as much work, but it's a bit of a catch-22 because, you book up 4 months worth of work, 3 months of that could be outside, and in England, we may only get 2 weeks of summer. So you're booking twice as much work on the exteriors, but you end up losing more days. So try to stick to interior, but we do anything from interior, exterior, coving, papering, the lot really.
Okay. And did you say that you were self-taught?
Pretty much. When my dad taught me everything I know, my dad served his time. He was born in 1954, my dad, so he served his time a few ages ago. So when we moved up here, up north, he went into work straight away as a chef. So he put the brushes down. He was a chef for about 15 years. And I came straight out of school into college. It really wasn't doing anything for me because it was all maths and science, and I built a toolbox. So I dropped out of college pretty sharp, got straight on the brushes, and my dad taught me everything I know.
Okay, that's good. Do you do any spraying?
Not really. Not yet, anyway.
Okay.
Really, with the properties that we're in, we're usually working on 50s, 60s, 70s kind of houses. They're usually repaints, top to bottom, so we don't have many opportunities to get a sprayer out, especially, I think, in inline. But I am looking at the Graco Ultramax handheld. I think for trims, balustrades and stair sets and stuff like that, doors. I mean, seeing like top line PSD with his finishes, cannot argue with that. So I'm keen to get one.
Guy does some really nice work, and that little handheld Graco is one of the best things I've ever bought. Instead of pulling out the big sprayer, it's I love that thing. The latest model with the DeWalt batteries, 100% the best.
I put my eyes on it, mate.
Yeah. And so you said that you've been on your own for 4 years now?
It's my 4th year now, but I mean, my dad works for me now, so it's sort of my company itself, Nice Decor, has been running for 4 years. It was Ivan Carter Decor before then, but I wanted to establish my own name. The plan was always for me to take over when my dad retired, but I felt like it would be better for my business if I just went on my own, built up my own clientele. Then when he retires, I've already built up my own name rather than being Ivan's son. I'm Nice Decor, and I built my own clientele, really.
Gotcha. Okay. So obviously we met through social media here on Instagram. How has social media played a role in your business?
Ooh, massively so. Social media is a much more powerful tool than I think I ever realised. Not only am I booked up till next February, it's shown me a lot. I mean, how we were just talking about sprayers then. I would never have thought about getting a sprayer in the industry that I'm in Northwest England. No one's using them. It's all brush and roller. Not even to the point we're cutting our own lines, no masking tape. But watching people like yourself, Top Line, and there's Matt, and people like that, I'm seeing a lot of different standards, but not just standards, techniques. And to be honest, I find myself buying different tools, different paints, because I was stuck in my ways. I mean, taught by my old man, I'd only use this specific paint because I knew it well, and I'd only use Purdy. I mean, I still love Purdy, but I think social media mostly, it's opened up my eyes to a whole world of different standards of decorating and different techniques, which I was unaware of before. Obviously, our standards have always been great. Being taught by a 65-year-old now, the standards have always been up here, but there's different techniques which make those standards easier to achieve.
100%.
Which, I mean, no one knows everything. So I think social media, especially the big circle of painters that there are out on social media, it's really impacted my business. Just on, I mean, like Gripper Cloth sending me sheets and L-shaped sheets, it makes my job a lot tidier, a lot more safe because there's no trip hazards. It's really, in every aspect, it's opened up our eyes in every aspect.
Where did you say those tarps were from? What was the brand?
Gripper Cloth.
Gripper Cloth. Okay. I think we have those. I have not seen the L-shaped cloth. I saw your video on that and I was like, this is beautiful.
And the banister sheet.
And the banister sheet. Yes, wow. I saw that as well. That was actually pretty cool. Yeah, no, social media, it's actually pretty amazing. Like, I also changed a lot of, the way that I do things, because I was self-taught. I did a lot of watching, when I was younger. I remember standing there about 10 years old watching old Italian guy paint a pizza, this bright orange color. And basically I stood there for 2 hours and watched him, and he had not a word of English. He just kept standing there saying, pizza, painter. And, I watched that guy, and I remember, I think I rolled today the same way that he rolled back then. That kind of stayed with me. But there was no internet. There was no YouTube that, if you want to get into the trade, this is what you're going to do. Go to YouTube and Google up some videos and watch it and kind of learn like that. Everything for me was like, get out there and do it yourself. I started out by working in neighbors' houses and stuff like that before I actually went professionally into a company, right? So I was kind of set in a way. We do change things as the years go on. We start to learn better things. And once you do something 10 times, you start getting a little bit better at it. And it's like, hey, you know what? If we do it like this time around, it's going to be a little bit easier for us and a little bit faster, whatever. So starting to see guys do things different than how I would do them. Sometimes it doesn't make much sense to me, but a lot of times it's like that's what I should have been doing for the last 25 years, right?
Yeah,
So I mean,
click.
I'm pretty sure as far as the industry goes, social media has helped us. I'm sure we've all changed something in our businesses.
Nobody
But
knows everything, man.
do you ever find clients actually reaching out to you through Instagram? Like, have you gotten any
Yeah,
work out of Instagram?
I have, yeah. Initially, I'll tell you how I got set up with social media. For about 7 years, I had a portfolio on Facebook. But the thing is with Facebook, you share something and it only shares to your circle of friends. Um, so, you know, that you get a lot of likes, not a lot of reshares and whatnot. But you do get a lot of work because it's local from all Facebook. People know you, it's word of mouth sort of thing. So Instagram at first, really, I was just trying to get my name out there more. I was completely unaware of the opportunities that Instagram actually has to offer. Um, but yeah, really over the last month or so, since my followers have gone up, I think initially my followers were all over the place, Australian, Canadian. You saw, I think, I had someone from Ghana asking me for a job. So I mean, you're getting all over the place, but only over the last month, really, it's sort of gone out of the country and then back in. So people locally to me now are following my page and asking for work.
Okay. I have a silly question, just to add a little bit of humor to the thing. We all keep seeing this Pretty Boy brush cleaner product.
Mm.
Have you saw that?
I've seen it, yeah. I'm
Okay.
very interested, to be
I'm
fair.
actually waiting for Brian to get back to me. Wasn't able to place an order through his website because it's basically doing domestic, so just in the States. I'm waiting for him to get back to me. I want you to try that on that beard, man. I want you to let Brian give him some feedback on that beard. Let's see if it softens it up, makes you feel any better. How do you keep that thing clean? How do you
Say
keep it
again?
clean? Like, how do you keep it clean? Do you get paint? Do you find
Um,
yourself getting plaster and paint in that thing a lot, or?
every day, mate, every day. Beard hair is designed to stay, so it's pretty durable. But it's the same as anything else. Just keep scrubbing, warm water, it'll come off. If it doesn't, I mean, it stays. There's never a day where I've not got paint on me somewhere.
Okay, okay. So typically, on a typical repaint, if you had an empty house, how would you go about, like, what's your process? You know, some guys will start with the ceilings and head to doors and hit base and then do walls. A
Yeah.
lot of guys are doing it different. What's your routine on that?
Okay, so as we're mostly brush and roller guys, we always ceilings first. So you can hit the wall if you want. Obviously, it's a repaint. A lot of these times, and no disrespect to other painters, but you'll know it yourself. You go into a repaint, the cutting in's never perfect. So we'll smash the ceilings, 2 or 3 coats, however many it needs, go onto the wall. Then we'll go on to the woodwork. So again, with the undercoat, as it's a matte finish, do all the woodwork, undercoat, doors, everything. And then we'll 2-coat the walls, cut it in at the top, cut it in at the bottom. When that's all dry, we get the fine brush out and we just cut the line in straight straight across the top, no masking tape. I mean, obviously, another thing with the houses we work in, masking tape is completely straight. Now, a lot of the houses that we work in, quite quirky. Yeah, all over the place. So a lot of the time, it warrants just the freehand. So yeah,
Okay.
the way we do it, ceiling, woodwork, walls, and then you cut all your glossing in afterwards. Tidy down before you do any woodwork at the end. Make sure it's all padded down, no nibs on anything. Hoover up, just literally walk around with 1 sheet each, all the skirts, all the doors. Then that's it, job done.
Gotcha. All right. So I believe it was a video. Yeah, it was a video that you had posted. Looked like you were skimming some plaster on a ceiling. Are you doing are you doing a lot of plaster work? Were you doing some skimming of some ceilings, or was that a wallpaper that you removed?
I mean, we don't plaster. The only thing, the last video I posted was a curve on a filler, possibly where the wall meets the ceiling.
Yeah, you
And
did that with a bag?
yeah, I showed a tutorial on filling that across.
Okay.
But no, we don't plaster ourselves.
Okay. Okay. No, I thought I had saw a ceiling. And was that a new build?
The house we've just done.
I believe it was the one that you just finished, or maybe the one just before. It had like almost like a red looking plaster ceiling. That's another thing is over here, our plasters are all like a white or a gray. I see a lot of, I got a lot of UK guys, like especially a lot of plaster guys, especially on my Facebook feed. And it looks like you guys have a lot of red muds. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're different shades of red. Do you know anything about why it's red or why it's different shades of red?
Honestly, it's completely out of my forte. This, they're all usually all the plaster we have here is the same color. It goes on really, like say, red, but it dries out complete. I mean, a lot of plasters around here are good at the job. It's a bit like an art for them. So it's obviously it's quite ready brown as it goes on, but it dries off all the same color, a little bit lighter. I noticed with you guys, you got it almost looks like boards just put up, and then you taper in between all the boards and whatnot.
Yeah, so that's drywall. You don't use drywall over there. So we have the standard size is like a 4x8 sheet. It will come in 4x10, 4x12, etc. Typically they're using 4x8, and yes, it's a drywall tape on all the seams, and then they mud it over. I do that. I stick to more skimming plaster, so like a lot of popcorn removal. Sometimes we can't remove it, so we end up skimming it over, and we do a lot of business that way. But yeah. Do you have any future plans, any big things coming up for 2020?
Yes, actually, I mean, as I said before, I've got my eye on the Greco Ultramax. As I said, I've been decorating for 10 years, but I have got another few ventures that I want to do alongside it, because I'll get home from work. As you see, I work nearly 7 days a week. I love the brush. So I mean, it's Top Line. Top Line's done this to me. I've seen all these kitchens done.
Danny?
She's Top Line. But seeing all the kitchens he's done, I think it's a great thing to offer a customer, because I've been asked times, can you paint the kitchen for us? And usually I would say, I mean, you risk making it look tacky, you're risking devaluing the property. But when I've seen the finish that the spray guys can get, that's something I want to get into. So I've actually got a really big trailer that I've just bought, and it should be on my garden. I've got a really big back garden. It should be on my garden within a couple of weeks. We paint it all out, and I'm going to set up a little spray room in there, get ventilation, so I can go to people, just take all the doors off the kitchens, bring it home. I can do that when I get home in my free time. That's the one, sell Danny. But also, I want to. I'm going to get into furniture restoration. I think I'd really enjoy the little to the nth degree prep work involved. It will even probably up my game more on decorating. Not that, I mean, our decorating is great as it is, but I think you can always be better. I've got a funny story to tell actually with my restoration business that I want to do. So I picked up an oak dining room table. I got it for free off somebody when we moved into this house a year ago, and it was lacquered on the top and really chipped away mahogany, looked really ugly. So I thought, right, I'm going to get a bit of practice in. Sanded it all down, put a video on about a month or two ago. Sanded it all down, it came up really, really nice. And then I thought, right, I'm going to paint it pewter, the grey colour that I've got in my kitchen for my missus, because it's an horrible old table. So after my third coat of primer, and I'd open the table up, I just thought I'd have a look underneath, just as I was getting under there. And there was a stamp that said Macintosh. And I thought, oh, now if it's stamped, it's either handmade or expensive or both. So I go straight onto Google, after 3 coats of primer into the bare wood, by the way. I goes onto Google and types in Macintosh furniture, £2,000.
Oh, nice.
So I'm just
and this is where you learned that you have a love for stripping furniture, I take it.
Well, I mean, I think my dad, about a year ago, came home with this big oak table in bits, and he says, there's money to be made. He's always saying to me, more strings to your bow, master your trade. And then, like you mentioned before, do I do plastering? I've always thought about getting into plastering. Mm-hmm. Obviously, how many times I've gone to strip a wall, and it's not good enough to line it, so you'll have to recommend a plasterer. If I could just do that there and then, it's more string to your bow. In the same thoughts as restoring furniture, my dad was saying to me, look, just get yourself a little room to the side. Doesn't have to be big. Do it at home if you want. Get home from work and just, you know, I mean, really, I'd have to go. I'm going to go to auction houses just to watch to see what wood is of good value. Obviously, you can devalue some wood by just touching it. So, I mean, when I was doing the table and I had my little mini sander out, I was enjoying the nth degree work of it. So, yeah, really, touching that table was where I thought, right, if I could have made £2,000 on what took me 3 evenings, you know, it seems worthwhile, because on Facebook there's a lot of buy-sell swap sites, and there's oak, Welsh cabinets and stuff going for free because people don't know the value of it, or they just want to get rid of it. So it's any way to make money, mate, and to be working on the brush. I just love it.
So I know that you say you don't do plastering. Is there any way that you would actually consider maybe getting into doing that, where you can more offer, you know, like I'm sure you've been into places, because I know over in the UK you guys have a lot of wallpaper, you know, old wallpapers up. So I'm sure when this wallpaper is coming down, you're finding some crumbling walls behind there. Would it not be would it not be better for your business for yourself to get into some plastering too, where when you pull down that wallpaper, you're not waiting for another trade guy to come through and repair the wall? You know what I mean? I mean, it is a trade on its own. I actually paint and plaster, so I mean, I'm kind of into 2 trades here. But I mean, I can offer my clients a full service. Yeah. You know, where we're not waiting for a guy that's busy that tells our client that, you know, they have to wait 2 weeks before they can get in, which puts our job off for the plaster guy to come in, do his couple coats, waiting for all the dry time, and we're off on other jobs. And sometimes the timing can be an issue to get back to that project. So would you ever think of, you know, considering getting into doing some plastering? You know, and I'll tell you, if you're worried about the smoothness and everything else, you know, there's always Festool, my favorite. If you don't get that, I mean, I put that mud out really beautiful. I get that thing laid out where we barely have to sand. But I mean, now with these sanders that are all dust free, it's so much easier for someone like yourself who is professional, but trying to learn something else to offer, again, that full package. It just makes it so much easier. You know, and I see a lot of guys, they're like, you know, it's a lot of money to invest in your business. You know what I mean? If you're going to go drop a few $1,000s on a system that's going to make your life easier, you know, there's days where I would come home and I was covered top to bottom in dust. Buddy, I sand in a black shirt and have nothing on me. We save time on cleanup. We save, you know, I can now do things that I would never do unless the person told me the house was unoccupied. I'm not afraid to go into somebody's house anymore and remove some popcorn, do some skimming and sand over their furniture. Yes, we'll still cover it up because you may have, like, I'm going to say that's a 99% dust free. But I mean, I would say, you know, that might be something for yourself to think of.
100%. So as I was saying, my dad's always said more strings to your bow. And I have thought about, I mean, we can plaster. We've plastered in his own house, in our own houses, but to charge for it would be, I think I owe it to a customer to go out and get qualities, or at least spend enough time on a job that I can go and charge for the work. I wouldn't, when we say we can do it, I mean, it looks good to us, but with respect to plasterers, like you said, it's a trade of its own. I think it would warrant me going and learning it properly from either a company or, I mean, night school at a college or something. But yeah, 100%, absolutely, I'd love to get into plastering because it would come right before my job. And like you said, more often than not, in 9 times out of 10 in a British home, especially if you're using a steamer, you pull the paper off and that paper is holding the wall together. It's falling off in big. I mean, we can work well with filler. You know, if we sometimes we end up filling most of the wall and it looks like it's been plastered just to line over the top, but it's not the same as a plaster finish. So plastering would definitely be something we'd like to get into.
Well, I'll tell you, you have my, you know where to find me. If there's anything when you're trying to learn, man, I will do lives with you. I will show you how to hold the knife. I will do my best to help you with that as a
I
friend
appreciate that.
of the brush. So Nick, here I go again. All right, give me one sec, guys. Retake, cut. Okay, let's try that again. So Nathan,
Yes.
the last thing, because we do have Jen waiting, and I know, again, it's late for you guys, so I don't want to keep her waiting too
Yeah.
long. But the last thing I wanted to ask you was, in the 10 years that you've been in the trade, what advice did you receive that you may want to pass on, or something that you may have learned that you can pass on to our newbies that are up and coming?
Okay, so my advice would be away from a physical thing because I think anyone going and learning, you learn the skill on the job. My advice would be listen to everybody else. It doesn't matter how good you think you are. If you can pick up one piece of advice from anybody else, just do that. Sit and listen, appreciate the knowledge from your elders and other decorators because there's a really good saying and it goes something like, if you think you know everything, you're a fool. You should live every day as a scholar. Meaning, I mean, nobody knows everything. The times are changing. There's new tools coming out on the market every week. So just keep your eye out and just always be looking to improve yourself. Take pride in your work. And just like I say, never think you know everything because it's always changing. There's always something to learn.
Exactly. I appreciate that. All right. Well, Nathan, for joining the show tonight, it's not much, but I know I did actually mail you out a couple of my shirts that you're probably receiving by tomorrow,
No,
and
they
some
came
stickers.
today.
I'm also gonna send you out. We have silver that we just been kind of just throwing odd little giveaways. So this is our CN Tower, which is the
Oh,
former world's freestanding structure, but the guys down in Dubai decided to outbuild us. So now we're just there. Yeah, so guests are gonna receive the gold version. It's a special edition right here, buddy.
Oh
And
yeah.
our little giveaways. I will start to get some other stuff to give away for you giveaway junkies, but these guys are going out to random guys here. This is a silver edition. So I appreciate your time. I'm sure we'll catch up again. I always like
Absolutely.
talking to you, and of course, I'm going to continue to watch your stories. And in case anyone has any questions or anything, your DM is open. You're willing
Always.
to take anything from anyone that's watching that may
You'll
have a
be
couple
straight to
questions
mine.
of their own. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, the crappy thing about doing a live show and switching guests is I actually have to get up. So
Um,
it was nice chatting with you. I'm going to see if we could find
thank you
Jen
very much.
here. All right, Nathan. I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, guys. Speak soon, Kris.
Let's see. Jen, if you're there, bear with me for a minute, fellas, guys, ladies. Hey, Jen, are you out here somewhere? I can't find you. Ah, here we go. Ah, here you go. Hello,
Hello,
Jen. Good to see you. How you
hi.
doing? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for joining me tonight.
You're
I know it's late for
welcome.
you. I know it's late for you, and you probably have work nice and early. I had one question for you before we get going here.
Yeah,
You're called Jen the Decorator. So I have
yeah.
an idea what a decorator is, but I'm not sure if it's like a UK thing versus like North American thing. Is a decorator like what I would call a designer? Or is a
No, us
decorator, go ahead.
um us in the UK, we call painter and decorators, but that's just exactly the same way. Calling us a decorator is the same as calling you in Canada and the States a painter. It's just something that the UK says. I'm not sure if anyone else says it, but yeah, it's just over here. I know you call a decorator someone that decorates home with furnishings and ideas and things like that. And over here, we just call that an interior designer.
Okay. Okay. So you are actually a painter.
I'm a painter. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's I was like I said, I wasn't sure if a decorator, like you were actually doing the design aspect of it and actually doing the actual work. So you cleared that up for me. I
Well,
appreciate that.
I do get asked for my input, and a lot of times I end up choosing the colours for my clients, and they tend to go along with whichever colours I choose and show them what colours go together and things like that. I did go to university to study interior design, so I do know a little bit about what sort of colours work together and, you know, the lighting in the room and things like that. So I do know a little bit about interior design as well.
Okay. Well, I skipped the first question, which is the most important, and that's where are you located?
I'm located in Stevenage, Hertfordshire, in England, in the United Kingdom, and it's about 25-30 minutes north of London.
20 minutes north of London. Okay, that's cool. Actually,
Yeah.
my family came over in late 1800s, I believe, and they were from 20 minutes south of London. I think it was a small place called Tadley.
I've not heard of Tadley.
Yeah.
My brother has actually gone over the pond to your ways, and my big brother lives in Alberta.
Oh, okay. Actually, that's where Danny is from, Top Gun.
Ah.
Yeah, he's out in Alberta. So how long have you been in the industry?
Well, I'm actually a little bit of a newbie. I mean, I've always been doing decorating. As I say, I went to university to study art and interior design. But 5 years ago, I needed a change. So I went back to college and I studied my level 1 and level 2 in painting and decorating. And then in the half terms, weekends, holidays, things like that, I used to go and work for my college tutor who had a decorating business. He also has a decorating business in Sydney, Australia as well. I think I would have preferred to do a bit of work experience over there rather than doing it over in rainy England. But
Hmm.
yeah, so apart from doing some work for him in some high-end properties, I thought I'm just going to set up self-employed. I didn't really fancy working for anybody else. I kind of like being the boss.
Okay. So when you entered into doing this painting career, did you ever touch a brush?
Oh
Like I know
yeah,
you
I've
said that you
always
had like interior decorating experience and stuff like that, but have you, you know, done any kind of painting before actually opening your business? Like, did you work with a company or?
no, I mean from a young age I've always experimented in painting. I always showed a strong enthusiasm for painting and interior design. When I was about 11, I used to buy a magazine that you used to be able to get from the newsagents called the Creative Home magazine, and you used to get things like paint stencils and um, wood grain rocker and things like that. So, and then I ended up when I was about 10, 11 years old, I got some yellow paint and I sponged the back of my bedroom door and made a sponge effect because yeah, I was interested in it. But I've wallpapered and painted in a lot of the properties that I've lived in growing up. I've also used to do my mum's as well. And then I was sort of just stuck doing retail because I've got 2 children and I'm a single parent. So, and I was just fed up just working in retail, and it wasn't what I was doing. So I wanted to get back to what I used to do before when when I didn't have children and when the kids were really little. So I decided to go back to college. I sort of fell into it because I went to college to study AutoCAD because I wanted to get into more the architectural side of things. So I walked into the college, rocked up, and they told me they discontinued the course. So I was like, okay, well, what have you got then? And they goes, well, we've got painting and decorating. And I said, fine, I'll do that. So yeah, and that's where it came from.
Okay, so do you offer both interior and exterior services, or do you tend to stick more on the inside?
Well, although my company name is Jennifer Gardner Interiors, I do actually do externals as well. I've only done two, but the two that I have done have been over 300-year-old grade 2 listed buildings, and they have taken an extreme amount of work and restoration. But it's been so rewarding to do buildings like that are listed.
You're working on buildings that are older than my country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So social media, how has that played a
Yeah.
role? Like, has that made it easier for you to get your name out there? How do you find social media affects your business?
I think, well, as soon as I started getting work after college or doing the odd job at coming to the end of my level 2, I joined Twitter actually, because I already had an Instagram account, but it was just a personal account. So it was just basically, me and the children on there. But then I started using products, and I started taking pictures of products that I was using and putting them up on my social media. And the more I started posting products that I was using, or brushes I was using, things like that, more and more companies started getting in touch with me. And then I just started reviewing for lots of different companies. And now I'm actually a product reviewer for Trade Decorator, and I've been working with them for nearly 2 years now.
Okay, so I saw you had posted something actually pretty interesting. I didn't get a chance to actually, I had a pretty busy day today. I wanted to before the show, but I actually didn't get a chance to listen to, you had a radio interview, and apparently you were in the runnings for UK's best tradesperson.
Yeah, last year, 2018, I was a London regional finalist in Screwfix Top Tradesperson UK. So, and that was out of and it was in the regionals, there was 54 regional finalists, but that was out of 3,000 entrants. So I think I did pretty well to get that
That's
far.
congrats. That's very well, very well.
Thank
Do you
you.
brush and roll? Do you spray?
Yeah, I have a Q-Tech 5 HVLP turbine paint sprayer. As well as, I have Festal and Merkur dustless sanding systems. And a couple of months ago, I went down to Knauf UK and I learned how to spray plaster as well. Not that I've had the chance to use that yet, but it was a brilliant experience to learn how to do that.
Okay. So what festivals do you have? That's like my candy in a candy shop for a kid.
For about 2 years now, I've just had the ETS 155 and the CLT MIDI dust extractor, and I have the Merkur Dios as well.
Okay. So you're connecting competitors' machines with each other?
Oh yeah, playing them off
That's
against each
okay.
other.
I was actually, I keep seeing a lot of guys using the Merca and some of these round sanders. I'm starting to think I might be kind of interchanging them too. Normally, I try to keep my tools matched up. So, I mean, to me, it's like if you drive a Honda and you need to get it repaired, you don't bring it to a Hyundai dealership.
Yeah,
But
well,
some of
I had
these.
I had the Festal first, obviously, and then the Merkur Dios was due to premiere in the UK. It was due to come out, and a lot of decorators on a forum that I was on Facebook was just banging on and on and on about this Merkur Dios and how amazing it is, and it's brilliant. I wanted to get the Festal RTS 400 for the woodwork, And for ages I was toying with it. I was thinking, I don't know what to do. But I think I was a little bit peer pressured into going for the Merca. But yeah, it is serving me well. I've had it over a year now, and it's still going, so it's doing all right.
At the price point, I think it should serve you for quite a few more years as well.
Yeah, hopefully. It's been in for repair a couple of times, but it's not doing bad.
And that was which machine, sorry?
That's the Merca Dios that I have, and I have the Festool ETS 155.
Okay, great, good stuff. So I wanted to ask you a question. What is it like being a female in a predominantly male industry? How do you find that?
I don't really have a problem with it, but over the last 3 years, there seems to have been quite a few men that seem to have had a problem with it. I have experienced a lot of cyberbullying over the last few years. It has got really, really bad, especially when I got into Screwfix Top Tradesperson UK. That I got even more cyberbullied then. Yeah, I don't know. They just get a kick out of it, I suppose. But I mean, there are some amazing male painters and decorators over social media, you know, that I'm so happy to call, you know, some really, really good friends that I've got all over the world. And yeah, they've been really great and supportive, even though there's been that little handful that, you know, have been a few nasty little bullies out there, but I just try not to let them get to me anymore.
Does that happen on all platforms? The cyberbullying, or do you find that more of like a Facebook thing?
It was more of a Facebook thing, but then they started attacking me on my Twitter account as well. Then they got hold of my phone number online. I'd get the odd voicemail, the odd WhatsApp, fake calls as well. I got some fake calls saying, "Oh, you've won this competition, you've won that," and I just have no idea that they've actually got nothing better to do in their life than to pick on somebody, but not just pick on somebody. These are grown men with wives and daughters, and they're choosing to pick on a female painter. I just didn't understand why.
Yeah, it's sad, you know. I find myself, I've never experienced anything like that, but I was doing a lot of Facebook stuff, and I see guys are a lot different on Facebook than here on Instagram. Like I fired up I've had Instagram for nearly a year, I'm thinking, on the business side, and
Yeah.
everyone that I've come across on the Instagram side of things has been amazing, very supportive.
Yeah.
Especially when I started, joining up with all these other painters from around the world. It's like very exciting to know that, no matter where I go, I know a painter. Actually, I probably know a few painters. But
yeah, I think
Facebook,
there's so much. Facebook seems to be where the trolls and the cyberbullies hang out in their, behind their keyboard worrying. But there is so much love on Instagram. And again, I mean, I've got so many friends on Twitter as well. I've got quite a few followers on there as well. And there's so much love on Twitter. There's never anyone that says a bad thing about you or anything on Twitter either. As well as, Instagram, we've sort of built up a nice little community. I mean, with Nathan that was on before, he actually came to me a few months ago when he just started on Instagram, because he's actually catching up with me pretty fast, but he literally had, a few followers. So he asked me for some advice, and, I shared his page and tagged him in and said, everyone go follow him. So, and I tend to do that with whoever I see who's new. I really like the work that they're putting out. They're genuine, they've got skills. And, I just like to share the love, put it out there, get people to follow them. And he's definitely catching up with me now. I think I shared far too many secrets with Nathan because I need to knock him down a few pegs now, I think. No, but Nathan Nathan puts out
We're
some
all
really awesome
colleagues. We're
work.
all colleagues.
Yeah,
Don't worry, Jen.
yeah, and he
Um,
puts out some awesome work, so
he
that's
does.
great.
He does. I really like Nathan. I chat with him quite a bit. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's because he's in the homeland while you're in the homeland as well. Like I almost feel like, even chatting with him after a couple times, like he's my distant cousin. Just very easy to talk to. Like if I was a homeowner, I
yeah,
would hire him, no problem, right? Communication is
yeah.
key. So what are
I'm
some of your
actually looking to hook
successes?
up with I'm looking to hook up with a couple of painters. I should be out in Canada this Christmas for 2.5 weeks. So I'm looking to hook up with a painter gal who's on Instagram. She's actually in Edmonton, where my brother was. He's just moved to Spruce Grove. And also the Curvy Brush. She's in Calgary, I think, so
Okay.
only an hour away. So yeah, not far. So I'm trying to hook up with a few when I come out for Christmas, hopefully.
hmm Awesome. That'd be great. That'd be great. Canada's a great place. I've not been out to the other side of the country, but I do plan on going out that way someday. I also have family in Alberta as well, and I think in
Oh, really?
BC, yeah, out in British Columbia.
Well, that's
What are
where
some of
my
your
sister-in-law is from. My sister-in-law and her family were BC. My brother was working out there in Edmonton, and they met, and they got married 4 years ago. So I came out to Canada. I was a bridesmaid, and then I came out again 2 years ago in the summer, and we went to Banff and canoed down Bow River and went to Johnson's Canyon. And Banff has got to be one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. It's just absolutely stunning. So I'm looking forward to coming out at Christmas, hopefully. I'm just not looking forward to the temperatures of like minus 20 odd.
Yes, it's our daily struggle over here from normally December until end of March, early April. It gets actually pretty
Yeah.
nasty here. We start getting temperatures can dip as low as, feeling like minus 30, minus 35. That's a really extreme cold, but it does happen. We normally hover around minus 15. I think that's a safe place to stay. And then you have the wind chills on top. It's not a nice place in the winter, but there's a lot of fun things to do. I mean, we play hockey in the winter, so we tend to stay indoors a lot. And then there's a lot of us crazy people that go out and ski. I try to stay out of the snow as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, like, what do you feel like is your biggest success being in your own business?
Um, I suppose getting my name out there, really. My family and friends are proud of me because I seem to have done, I have done so much, and I have achieved so much in such a short space of time. And just, the same as what Nave says as well, every day is a school day. You learn something new of somebody different every day. So, and you should never stop absorbing, all that information from everybody and picking up new skills and things.
Okay. So lastly, before I let you go,
Didn't you have a question from your wife, wasn't it?
oh, my wife, she's actually been following you. I forgot about that. She's actually been following you, and it's a little bit of a strange question, but I guess it hit her in a weird way. So she was watching you make your dinner last night. She thought
Oh,
that
my
your
lasagna.
your homemade lasagna looked fantastic. She said she
Thank
probably would
you.
have ate it all. But what she was wondering is what you sided it with, your side. Like when we eat lasagna here, we just eat lasagna. I think seemed a little bit strange or odd to her to see what was your side that you had with your lasagna.
Well, normally I would have, a massive portion of lasagna and, a bit of salad and garlic bread on the side. But my children are teenagers now. My daughter Lily, she's 14. My son Jack, he's going to be 16 in December, and they eat me out of house and home. So we had fries and garlic bread on the side.
Okay, did you say fries for me? Because I'm sure you call it chips.
Um, Big chips, but skinny fries.
Oh, so it depends on the size.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotcha. So small as
yeah,
fries and big as chips. Okay.
yeah. Size
So
matters.
okay, so the last thing that I wanted to ask you was, and I know that you're fairly new in the trade. Um, what is it's going to be a very standard question for all of my guests to finish off their segment. What is some oh my goodness. Sorry. I need to do this again.
Cut.
You're going to forget my mistake, okay? What is some advice that you would give to someone heading into the trade?
Just absorb everything that everybody tries to, teach you or show you. Um, get some hands, like me. I went to college first, and then obviously during the holidays and half terms and weekends, I would work for my tutor to gain the, on-site knowledge. But for someone new, just experiment with all different paint finishes, all different brushes, all different rollers, and find ones that you enjoy using. There's a few brands that I tend to stick to, although I do like to chop and change. But as I said, because I'm a product reviewer over social media, I tend to try everything that comes out.
Okay, so
But I
that
just say, just never stop learning, absorb just treat every day as a school day. Don't be afraid to try new techniques. Don't, like I spray, but I only really spray woodwork at the moment. I can spray walls and ceilings, but I just haven't got, the big sprayer in yet. But yeah, don't be afraid to experiment and try new things, new brushes, new equipment, and also don't be afraid to actually ask people for their advice and their opinion, because guys and girls over social media are so open that they are willing to give you the advice. All you've got to do is actually ask them, and they'll be there to help you.
exactly. Well said. Seeing how you're a reviewer, I do have one more question. Your favorite
Yeah.
brush? Sounds like you've tried quite a
Um,
few. What is your
I
favorite
have.
brush?
I think my all-time favorite brush has to be the Proform Blaze. That's just like the top one. But the Monarch is kind of identical to the Blaze. So I've got some Monarchs as well. And I've recently actually bought some called, are they Oldmans? Are they called Oldhams?
I've never heard of those. I think
Well,
even monarchs. I don't even believe that we even have monarchs over here.
Monarchs come from Australia.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, the Monarch.
I've not seen them here.
Yeah, but I do love a bit of a Worcester gold tip and a Worcester silver tip as well. They're very good, but I do tend to stick with my Blaze. But again, I seem to have misplaced a few of them, so I'm using the Monarchs and the Oldhams, but they are kind of more or less the same sort of brush.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Jen, I want to thank you for your time this evening. I know it's probably getting close to 11 o'clock over there. Just as I
Yeah,
said to Nathan, I'm sure you're watching. We have a beautiful little cute gold CN tower to send over to you.
thank you.
I will send that over to you for joining me on the show this evening. And once again, I really appreciate your time and letting people know a little bit more about yourself. It's always great to
You're
hear
welcome.
about our fellow painters, and what they're up to and who they actually are. So with
Yeah,
that being said, thank you very much. And it was nice chatting with you. And don't forget to send me your information so I can mail that out. I'm hoping that their Canada Post will airmail it and not ship it across over in a canoe. It'll be much quicker by airmail. So I'll pay the extra
yeah. It does
postage and
tend to
hopefully,
take a while.
yeah, it
I send Christmas cards and birthday cards out to my brother and my sister-in-law and the in-laws, and the Royal Mail here says it should take 4 to 5 days. But there in Canada, they never receive it till like 3 weeks or so later. It's like,
typically Typically, I think they say 8 to 10 days sending over. I know, like
Yeah.
within the city, within the province, I think we can send and Ontario, the province I live in, is pretty big. We could send it. Sometimes you can get it next day, but typically it's 1 to 2 days. To Alberta, I think they say that it'll be there in 3 days from here. So,
Yeah.
anyways, if you send me your information, I'll definitely send that out to you. And once again, thank you very much for joining me this evening.
You're
And
welcome.
you have a great night and a good sleep. And don't work too
Yeah.
hard and keep posting the content. We love watching.
Thank you. It's been lovely
Well,
talking with you, Kris, and being
thanks,
on your
Jen.
show.
Thank you very
See you
much for coming
later.
out. Have a good night.
You're welcome. And you. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Okay, so as Jen is heading out here, if she can figure out how to do that, there she goes. The last thing I want to touch on is I had a few of my fellow painters reach out to me, I guess due to my last video where I was pulling off some frog tape, asking me about the blue frog tape versus the green. I've had 3 people reach out to me on that. So I let them know what I think of it. But the best thing to do, and I think this is North American wide, for sure it's within Canada, at Sherwin-Williams, they sent out an email today. Buy one, get one free. You can't go wrong. This is not a sales pitch. I paid for these and nobody has given me anything to promote that. This is a public service announcement to my fellow painters for you to save a few bucks. Head over to Sherwin-Williams. Check out if you can get that offer, the buy one, get one free. In my opinion, and I may be wrong because I don't work for Frog Tape, I believe that this blue contractor series Frog Tape is very much like the green without the case. So I think it's more of a price point that they're not packaging it in plastic casings, and they're able to save a few bucks passing it on to us. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time for the hour that you've spent with me tonight. We'll do this again next Tuesday. I will post the time because I'm not sure where we're going just yet. I think we're going to be going down the east coast of North America. So anywhere from down in Florida right up to the province of Newfoundland. Anyone that's watching who may want to join a future show, send me a DM. We'll talk about it. For all the rest of you, have a great night. Thanks for coming out.